Hello, and today is going to be a very different post from anything else on my page because this is the only calisthenics you're going to see in today's video. I'm snowed in here in New York, so I'm just having some fun, and I'm going to share some crafty projects. So recently, I've been searching for a nice 2-foot long, 2-inch in diameter fat bar parallettes that are low to the ground, and I couldn't find any, so I made my own, and I'm going to share that with you. And then after that, I'm going to show you how I cut my gym shirts because, well, I'm like I said, I'm snowed in, and I just feel like sharing everything. I love gym t-shirts with no sleeves, so this is what I do, just in case y'all are interested. So I'm using a 2x6 here. I had some structural wood left over from one of my projects, so that's what I'm using, but any 2x6 will work. I just like this because it's stronger and will never split. It does splinter, though, because it's made out of compressed plywood. Just so you know, I was marking the square at 5.5 inches, and each one, finding the center point, I was just measuring out 2 3/4 inches from each edge. I don't know what the metric equivalents are, but I definitely prefer like the base 10 number system, but unfortunately I'm American, so we use base 12. Doesn't make much sense, but I digress. And I'm American, so it is what it is. I'm using a 2-inch hole saw here. I'm a little ashamed of myself. I didn't get the carbide tip blade. I just used the garbage one, and it cuts like garbage. It's really important, in my opinion, to flip it over when you're drilling the hole on these, because if you don't, hole saws tend to blow out the back. So just drill most of the way through, flip it over, and then just hole saw through the other side, so you get like a nice clean cut that doesn't have any blowouts. Really important. Coming up here, I'm just using the old mitre saw to cut it. I'm annoyed. It doesn't have the light on it, so it was a mistake. You know, I gotta say, DeWalt, shame on you for not putting the cut light on it. It is what it is. Don't cut with your hand there, guys. I had to do this for the camera, but definitely don't do that, especially if you're on a job site. You might get a violation, but whatever. I'm in my own home. There's no OSHA here, so I just wanted to give you guys a safety warning. Do not cut with your hand there. It's not safe. It is what it is. I had to do it for the video. Now I'm using the 2-inch oak dowel. You can get these at most hardware stores. If you don't have it, just order it online. I'm measuring it at exactly 24 inches. The dowel is always oversized by about 1/8 of an inch, and that's for the saw blade, so that when my saw blade passes through, it's nice and even at exactly 2 feet on each side. So always make sure you don't cut through your line, but cut next to your line, so you can take off that 1/8 of an inch. If you cut through your line, one will be longer than the other, and you'll have uneven parallettes. So here we go. Fast forward. I got 4 bases and 2 dowels. So I'm just, what you see here is I'm leaning it over and resting it on top, and that gives me a nice stable work area to work on. This bench I just moved. It's not I really have to redo the surface of the bench. It's very uneven, and I did end up having to redo one of the parallettes because it gave me like a wobbly bottom. So make sure you're working on a nice even surface. I put down one of the LVL planks before. What I'm doing here is I'm using a countersink bit to make sure that the screw gets low enough, and I just don't want any wobble. I don't want any screw head sticking up, so it's really important. I'm using a square here. I'm just making sure that the edges are flush and the dowel isn't sticking out the back of the parallette. So now I'm driving a 3-inch long construction screw through. So I'm using one of the better types with the star heads. What I'm doing is I'm just using one of the ones that don't require pilot drilling. Basically, I just wanted to skip a step, so just spent a little more on screws, so I didn't have to do any pilot drills. You know, a lot of times if you're not using better screws, you should absolutely do a pilot drill on this so you don't split your wood. But yeah, I just wanted to skip the steps, so I just used better screws. I'm using 3-inch long screws so that they really embed into the dowel and make an incredibly strong parallette. I'm also going from both sides to make it even stronger. These parallettes are insanely strong, especially using the structural wood as opposed to the regular 2x6s. Again, if you are using regular 2x6s and not LVL structural wood like I'm using here, definitely you might really want to consider pilot drilling because that type of wood tends to crack. This wood will never crack because it's made out of compressed plywood, but it absolutely will splinter. So in a second you'll see me routing out the edge. This is absolutely unnecessary. It's just, you know what, these are my parallettes. I'm going to be using them. I plan on using them for a long time. I'd say into the ground, but these things will never break. These are insanely strong parallettes. So I'm just rounding out the edge bit, and as you see here, this type of wood does splinter, but it will never crack. So that's the beautiful aspect of this. Again, make sure you're using nice long screws so it really embeds into the dowel and makes an incredibly stable and strong parallette. It's sad. A lot of the parallettes you buy in stores tend to be glued in, and it's garbage. The glue will always break. It's just so much better to sink it in. Now I'm just sanding down the finish because, like I said, this wood tends to splinter, and these are my parallettes, so I want them nice and smooth and wonderful. Yeah, I'm so happy with how these turned out. I absolutely adore these. I've been desperately looking for just like a nice low to the ground 2 foot long thick parallette, and I just couldn't find it anywhere on the internet. And I was just like, yo, dum you know how to build things. Make some parallettes. Stop being lazy. So this cost me about $8 in material. These are just little garbage furniture grip pads. You can get them at any hardware store. They're just to make furniture grip to the floor and not slide around. Absolutely use crazy glue on this. Do not rely on the garbage glue that comes on these things. It's just going to end up tearing off the bottom of your parallette. You use this, it's going to stay there nice and strong. Absolutely, like, glue these down. Don't rely on the factory glue. It's garbage. Yeah, so it's great. Like I said, this cost me about $8 US. Obviously, the tools cost more. So if any of you guys need one with, bare bones, even made with a handsaw or a nails, it costs even less. And I could post a tutorial video on that if you don't have power tools. So I'd be happy to make. I'll definitely make one in the future where I do it without power tools. Now I'm just showing you guys how I cut my t-shirts because I don't like having sleeves on my t-shirts when I'm working out. Maybe it's the midlife crisis. Maybe it's just, I don't know. It's just my style. That's just what I like. A lot of people have, they've mentioned that they like these stylish shirts. So I'm just showing you how I cut them. I'm using a template here. So this is just, what I'm doing is I'm using a piece of cardboard to mark how low I want the cut to go so that I can keep it nice and even on both sides. So what I'm doing here is I'm just making sure the shirt is perfectly flat. I'm lining up the cardboard so it's nice and even and square. And now I'm using double-sided tape to stick it down so that the shirt doesn't slide away from the cardboard. It's in my opinion, it's pretty important to do this. It'll give you a more even cut, but the beauty of this is like, who cares if it's a little messy? I'm just, I'm kind of going overboard with this a little, just to make it easier for you guys, just in case maybe you're not the best at making a nice straight cut or you need a little assistance. This will make things a lot simpler for you. Honestly, I usually just cut them freehand because, I don't know, I'm used to it. I cut all my shirts, so I got a lot of practice. But if you're doing it for the first time, you don't want to risk ruining your shirt. This is a much safer way to not ruin the shirt. I also recommend you absolutely tape it down to the floor so that it doesn't shift around while you're trying to cut it. This shirt was given to me by a good friend of mine and one of my training partners from back in the day. He makes, honestly, just beautiful, comfortable, really high quality jiu-jitsu lifestyle shirts, and I love them. This shirt is beautiful. I absolutely adore it. So I just wanted to use it in the video and give him a major shout out. Yeah, like I said, he's a friend of mine, and I couldn't appreciate him more. This is a beautiful shirt. Thank you so much, brother. I'll put a link to his IG in the post description. It's just so grateful for this. Thank you, my friend. And yeah, that's it. Just cut out a nice straight line. If you have a little bit of overcut, it's not that big of a deal. I hope you guys enjoyed this style of post. I wanted to do something different. Thank you so much.